I'm highly disappointed in South Africans for celebrating Malema's guilty verdict. Last month, the AfriForum judge, I don't even know her name. That's how not interested I am in this case, because I feel like A, it's stupid. B, it's politically driven. I mean, if you can look at the timeline of everything, Donald Trump asked Ramaphosa, why don't you arrest Julius Malema? And then 3 months down the line, Julius Malema is arrested for a case that dated back to 2018, a long forgotten case. And now AfriForum feels like they are patriotic and they owe the public the iron fist of the law. They owe the public justice. Basically, in their little head, they owe South Africa justice. So yeah, no, I am not even going to entertain this case. It's politically driven. The verdict comes straight from the White House, from the Oval Office, from Washington, D.C. to South Africa. This is typical American style. They like to involve themselves into domestic politics and everybody's domestic politics. But when we question America, they all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose. I mean, they fired our ambassador to America recently after he made a statement saying that America, the mother business, is about white supremacy, political power, nothing more, nothing less. So this is America flexing its muscle. And I know this is, yeah, they like silencing radical leaders. They like silencing powerful black voices. This is a message to the rest of the African leaders that feel like they can liberate the rest of Africa. So I'm not going to entertain this, but it disappoints me that South Africans are now entertaining this guilty verdict. They are celebrating it, not knowing that this is a racial tension that is deepening. These are the first seeds of racial tensions, actually. And I am scared that 1 year, not even 10 years down the line, I feel like 1 year later, we are going to see a rise into white power. White power is going to come back. Apartheid benefactors are going to rule South Africa 30 years down the line. That is so crazy. I can't believe that Julius Malema was found guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm, unlawful possession of ammunition, discharging a firearm in a public place, reckless endangerment. That time, no one was killed. The EFF supporters were more than happy to be at the rally. And I'm not saying that Julius Malema was right or anything. Yeah, I mean, shooting in a public open space like that, it's quite dangerous. But why didn't they find this verdict back in 2018? 8+ years later, and you're now going to find this man guilty. I hate it. I hate it. It's, like I said, politically driven. But what annoys me is the way South Africans are celebrating the downfall of someone that loves the black skin. Now, speaking of the black skin, Julius Malema is basically persecuted for putting Africans first. Not South Africans, but Africans, the black skin, someone that looks like me. Julius Malema would go to war for you, advocate for you. And this is what South Africans can't comprehend. So people are basically just saying, hey, Julius Malema deserves this because he's not putting South Africans first. He is saying that, hey, foreigners must find creative ways into getting into South Africa. He doesn't understand the day-to-day burdens of South Africans who live in the same public space or share the same public space as illegal or legal African migrants. They don't understand that. And one thing that bothers me about this reasoning capacity of saying Malema puts Africans first before South Africans. They don't understand that apartheid, colonialism in Africa was a shared experience for all. Apartheid was not limited only in South Africa. I know other countries gained independence before us, but before we could gain independence, there are some African leaders and African freedom fighters that flew all the way from their countries into South Africa to help fight, and vice versa. They aided us when we needed them the most. They shielded us, they sheltered us, they fought for us. They advocated for us on these international stages. Colonialism and apartheid was a shared experience, not only for South Africa, but the rest of the African continent. And here to talk to us about that shared experience, here to elaborate further when I mean that, apartheid was a shared experience among the rest of the African countries, is Ghost Daddy B. to hear he's here on the Native Talk to really expand on that fact. What do I mean when I say that apartheid was a shared experience?
Oh yeah, Reneilwe. Thank you for welcoming me into your native talk. The first experience from my side, and I really appreciate the the invitation. Yeah, and I was listening to your introduction into the matter. I think you put it very well, very well, in saying that America acts like a big brother. It acts like a big brother because it always gets its nose
Into other people's
into
business.
other big people's business. You see, so that is the problem. And I would remember, of course, the case that you talked about in the Oval Office, where the president literally said to Cyril President Ramaphosa that why can't you arrest this man? You see? And that is, to me, it was okay. How do you even get into that? The arrest of another man in his own country. Where do you get in there? You see?
How's that any of your business when the constitutional court actually did not find him guilty for singing the Kill the Boers song?
You
Shoot to
understand?
kill.
You understand? So to me, it was just like, I don't know, crazy for President Trump to say that. Because in the first place, those people went to America not to talk about Julius, but their business and stuff. Unfortunately, business was diverted into politics.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now they stopped talking about their stuff and then concentrating on Julius. For what good reason? Yes. So that is why I said in your introduction, I think you put it you just nailed it. You really nailed it. And I thank you.
Yes, I just want to know because in my intro I mentioned that apartheid or colonialism was a shared experience among the African continent. I mean, no one was left behind, and a lot of African leaders outside South Africa advocated for the end of apartheid. They really did aid in ending apartheid, and now suddenly South Africans are saying, "Well, we know this is South Africa is our country, our business, our I understand that. I understand it. And our domestic politics is our business. But to say that our African brothers and sisters don't belong in South Africa and they are the reason why a lot of state-owned enterprises or government resources and services are at a standstill. They are at a breaking point. They are literally at depletion. I think it's wrong for you for South Africans to entirely blame African migrants for the collapse of government services. I think we should be looking at the government that we have in place right now and say, hey, what are you doing wrong? Why are you not servicing the people of South Africa? Because I understand African migrants to a certain extent, they will be collateral, but to solely blame everything that is wrong in South Africa to the migrants, it's a stretch. Don't you think so? Can we take me back to how African countries got involved in the unity of in trying to fight apartheid with South Africa? How did they help us?
Yeah, look, number one, Africa is it's a one continent. That is one nation.
Oh,
Yes. So I can't understand why people are saying foreigners in their own country. Because when we talk of continent, that is their own country as well. Unfortunately, the settlers they came out with this issue of
Borders.
colonization and the borders.
Mhm.
That is when now they separated the black nations. That they used what is known as the divide and rule. You stay there, you stay there, just like that.
Mhm.
And then now, when the Africans are starting to come together,
Mhm.
let's say the unity of Africans is a threat to the United States,
The European Union as
the
well.
European Union in general. You understand? Because when we are divided, that is where they're going to have a problem. Remember all the minerals that they extract from Africa and they take to Europe. It's a lot. We Africans can be self-reliant with our own minerals. So then the issue of the borders, or maybe people saying Africans don't belong to South Africa, okay, it's just an issue of the governance.
Okay.
Eh, Maybe in most African states, there is failure of governance. That is why those people are starving.
Mhm.
And then they see South Africa as a refuge, a place where they can at least survive. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yes. So that is the main thing. These borders were brought up by the colonialism or colonial.
Mhm.
Yes, those are the main thing that, or the main people that came and divided the black nations.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Reneilwe.
So now, okay, I'm hearing that we were united once and then we got divided through colonialism, the borders and whatever, and it transcended through time. And now we are using the European rule of laws. We have countries within one nation. It's fine. It's fine. We can't change anything. But how did we come to a point where South Africa feels like Africans don't belong in South Africa when literally there was something called the African Union? What was the African Union's job, and what is the African Union? Because I'm hearing some of our freedom fighters literally fled to Angola to be helped. The military tried to help them. Then there was Tanzania in 1968. Pan-Africanism in general, what is that concept and what does it mean for Africa?
Okay, yeah, this African Union was established in 2002 and it was initiated by President Thabo Mbeki.
Oh.
And initially, it was called the OAU, the Organization of African Unity, which was established in 1963, May 25, I mean, March, yeah, that is May 25, 1963. And it was the brainchild of the former president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Muammar Gaddafi. Those were the minds behind the formation of the OAU. And then its initiative was to maintain peace in the African continent
Okay.
and also to help each other economically. Because they would say, maybe if there is an instability somewhere in Ghana, somewhere in Tanzania, then they will intervene. So that is why I'm saying their main focus was peace in Africa. Yeah.
So before, like the main focus being peace, did they help each other perhaps with military training? Did they help each other? Because some countries were oppressed and still are oppressed. So did something fruitful come from their interventions?
Look, I would say I don't think so. I really, just like the African Union, I just see a toothless dog, because you find that people are still oppressed in their own countries.
Yes.
Elections are rigged all over Africa, and then their missionaries will come and say the elections were free and fair. So I wouldn't say they were active as such. However, in the issue of the training of the soldiers and stuff like that, that was initiated by the bilaterals between countries. For example, South Africa took their soldiers to Zambia, somewhere in Angola, and many other African countries. So those countries helped us to train the soldiers of South Africa, or the ANC, PAC, and the
military
AZAPO by then.
Azapo.
Yes, that is the MK, the APLA, and the Azala.
Okay.
Yes, those were the liberation movements by then. And each and every liberation movement was having its own military wing.
Ooh.
Yes.
And those military wings, obviously, they couldn't train in South Africa, so they had to find like alternatives.
Of course, they had to run outside of the country, because remember here, the so-called SADF, South African Defense Force. There was no way they're gonna train in South Africa, whereas apartheid was still
at its peak.
Right, So otherwise they were gonna slaughter. They're gonna be slaughtered. Yes. That is why even the political leaders, they ran away from being persecuted by the apartheid regime. So there was no way that the South African government would allow some military operations.
Underground.
Nothing.
So
nothing
they had
like
to
that.
go to other countries.
Yes.
So this is how we say other countries helped in the fight against apartheid. Is this how we actually meant?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is why even when those people come here, they would always say, but remember, South Africans, we helped you during the apartheid regime. Your soldiers came to train there. Your people ran to our countries.
For refuge.
Yes, for refuge in their countries. I would also remember Swaziland. Some would get through Swaziland to Mozambique. Some would go to Zimbabwe. Just stuff like that.
So apartheid,
even in Botswana, there were some refugees in Botswana.
In Botswana as well. So
Yes.
it's not, South Africa was not an isolated case when it came to colonialism.
No, it
we were
wasn't.
not isolated.
No.
We were housed. So
Yes.
now, where do South Africans now get this concept of mine in South Africa? Like, where do we get the concept of saying you don't belong here, you Nigeria, you don't belong here, you Zimbabwe, you don't, it's all mine. Everybody go back to your own country. Where do we get the concept of isolating ourselves? Who taught us that?
I think maybe is the issue of the limited resources. Because you have the resources in South Africa that would maintain its own citizens.
Yes.
And then having other African countries coming in here,
it's heavy.
Then there is going to be a limitation, of course, of the resources. That is where the conflict comes. It's nothing else but the resources. Because in their countries, resources are only centered around their leaders.
Oh.
Yes.
So it's not about serving the masses. The leaders use the resources for
Of
themselves.
course.
I mean, the perfect example would be who is that president or former president in the DRC that built a huge palace with gold?
Siseko.
Yes, Siseko.
Yeah, Mobutu Siseko.
Yes.
Yeah, he was living lavishly in a very beautiful house.
While his people.
The gold, everything is gold in that house. Gold, you see?
Really?
Whereas the people underground, at the bottom of the economic level are suffering. That's a problem. You go to Zimbabwe, you see, the same. The leaders are driving
big Mercedes,
big
cars,
Mercedes,
and
big cars.
Yeah.
Yes. Whereas the people there are starving. And the only place to run to is South Africa. So at least we can get something to survive.
Something to survive,
Yeah, it's just a matter of survival.
So, okay,
nothing else.
The way this conversation is flowing, the reaction Julius Malema is getting from the people. Basically, the people say, we are disappointed in this man. This man was going to be it for us. This is from people on X. And you know how Twitter is very influential when it comes to the political landscape of this country, into shaping it. They're very influential. Any politician that does not take Twitter seriously is actually dumb. For myself, I think Twitter is central to everything that is happening. So they're busy saying that, hey, Julius Malema disappointed us. This man was it for us. He was our person that was going to drive us to the promised land. And now, when he told foreigners to come to this country or goes to other African countries and labels South Africans as xenophobic, if you kind of like backing it up in a way that Julius Malema is kind of like putting people first above his own people. Are you saying that?
No, I would say that. I would think that Julius Malema is thinking globally.
Oh,
Yes, to say, look, we have to liberate Africa as a united Africa.
yes.
Yes, that is what he's fighting for, and nothing else.
A united
And you
nation.
can't say when you want to unite Africa as a continent, and then you still say other people from Africa are foreigners. Doesn't make sense. You see that? But I can tell you, the only thing that makes people fight, resources.
So, but then,
Very important.
But if that's the case, if like resources are a problem, then we need to get to the bottom of how we can resolve that issue. Identifying or getting rid of those leaders in a power position that give the United States, the European Union, a vast amount of resources, a permission to infiltrate Africa's natural reserves. People like Felix Tshisekedi of the DRC, people like William Ruto of Kenya. We need to identify those people, step them down. I feel like Africa deserves young leaders that are innovative, that cannot be selling us out. First of all. Secondly, we need to make sure that every African country functions on its own without actually depending on each other. It's going to be impossible, but if we can get to that point. Thirdly, we need an African Reserve Bank that is backed up by our natural resources, as Muammar Gaddafi envisioned before the United States smeared him, went on a smear campaign and vilified him in a way to justify killing him, right? So meaning that we won't have to depend on, what is this, the World Bank or something, because apparently Africa,
the World Bank.
Africa, the World Bank is essentially the reason why Africa is crippled, because we owe these amount of monies, but the very same entities that support the World Bank take resources from us. So that is where I am kind of like conflicted about that situation. So these are the three things that should happen. So right now I kind of like have to back up the people of South Africa, because they are the ones on the ground that are feeling the pain. Julius Malema, to a certain extent, is above this pain. He wants African unity, but he's living in Sandton, having white bodyguards that and he's getting money from the parliament. He has an extravagant net worth worth 21.6 million rand. He's building this affluent life. He does not know the day-to-day lives of people that are affected by migrants, crime, prostitution, everything. I'm not saying all of them are involved in that, because I know some migrants, they do contribute to the GDP, the South African GDP. They don't come here empty-handed. They do contribute. They do contribute. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna take that away. But our resources are limited and our people don't have access. Yet we pay taxes. So do you understand that Malema is far from the issue? He wants unity. The mandate is clear. I understand that. The principle, he has standard, but he does not live the day-to-day lives. And now South Africans are feeling like this is, above Malema. He doesn't get it. I just wish that some statements in regards to migrants, he should have held them back for himself. Like, he should have waited until there's a technical dialogue amongst Africans to actually unite.
I get your point. Yes, I do get your point.
Yes.
The issue is, I heard you in your statement saying some of them have contributed economically to South Africa. Yes, if I can take you back then, the economy of South Africa was built mostly by the foreign nationals. We had the Malawians who came here to work on the mines. The Lesotho people were here.
Yes.
You understand? Those people were the main ones who were digging gold here in South Africa. So you can see that now they have built they have helped us build South Africa. So I'm sorry, that is what Malema is looking at. Say, but it's fine. We have a nice economy. The country has grown. So why now we cannot share this little resources we have with those people, because they helped us.
But
build.
how can we share? They helped us build, but the government
Unfortunately,
has rippled through that.
yes, unfortunately, what should happen is that now South Africa can send a bill to those countries,
Okay.
like maybe in hospitals,
Yes.
health department. We just count how many
Foreigners
were here from Zimbabwe, maybe Zambia, and stuff like that. And then we'll send the bill to the country. Then they will have to pay it back.
Exactly. Then
In
why
that
are
case,
they doing that?
unfortunately, leaders there are not united. They're not united. For instance, look at the issue of President Ramaphosa and President
Paul
Kagame.
of Rwanda.
You
Yes.
see, you can see that there's conflict
Tension.
between the presidents. But that should, if that happens, I think these things for foreigners and stuff like that will just die down.
Yeah, hence up like it's a matter of technical dialogues between the leaders to see how we can move forward. For example, I like that Ramaphosa I think decreased tariffs to Nigeria. Now then we can trade. Yes, that kind of relationship, technical dialogue is needed for every African country. I like that. We can send a bill for now. We can send a bill and everything. But I feel like our leaders won't send a bill to other African leaders for their people in South Africa because our leaders had interests, economic interests in certain countries. I hear that some leaders in South Africa have mines, some in the DRC, some in Zimbabwe, some ministers in the cabinet currently have transporting businesses from Zanzibar to Zimbabwe, from Zanzibar to Mozambique. So this is like you say, resources are centered around leadership more than the people. So I think the other African leaders are saying, but you have a mine here. You are mining gold all day long. Why can't our people, have access to the healthcare facilities or police station or whatever resources that South Africa has? Because Ramaphosa has a mine here. Minister Mantashe has a transporting business from Zimbabwe to Mozambique, trucking businesses actually that transport coal and other minerals from other countries to South Africa. So
that should be a problem.
That is a problem. That is a problem. Yes.
Because that is why in terms of the countries, the bilaterals, then we're going to have a problem. Because you have somebody who's got interest. But now if they talk about this issue as a nation, that would be far much better. And then we leave our personal interests outside of this. Because people down there are fighting. It's true. That one is true. We cannot overlook that. They are fighting for resources.
So basically, Malema is fighting two things, in my understanding. A, he's fighting the black leaders that have interests in other countries, other economical interests in other countries. This is number one. Number two, he's fighting the racism. So essentially, the division of Africans or black South Africans fuels white leadership or fuels white people to be emboldened in their racism without feeling fear and guilt. Hence this GNU. Since the GNU was formed, I don't see anything good that came from the GNU, if we're being honest. I don't know, it's a personal thing. Maybe your stuff are different. But since the GNU has been formed, white people have been emboldened in their racism. They do not fear anymore. Racism used to be so subtle before the GNU. Now it's rife. Now it's rife. I don't know if it's the presence of white leaders in the ruling government or in the ruling coalition or what. I don't know what it is. So he's fighting these two aspects. If Malema becomes the central voice of South Africa or a presidential leader, the economical interests of our black leaders are going to collapse. And then these ones are not going to be in power anymore because Malema will always ensure that his voice is loud enough to always convict these closeted racists. So these are two things he's fighting.
Yeah, look, you talked about the small leaders in South Africa or young leaders in South Africa. I think I would rather say we go that route. Look at Burkina Faso, Traore, and the country is doing well, self-reliant.
It is.
Self-reliant, and is doing well. You understand? So the issue of the whites, this and that one, maybe it's because their brothers now are in the GNU, they are in governance, and then they are somehow protected. Understand? Because there's nothing that the government can do. If the government acts, then their big brother, America, will be intervening to say, but why? Every forum will be running there to America
to report every little thing.
To report that our brothers, they have been assassinated.
Which is a lie.
Our brothers, they have been arrested.
Which is a lie.
You understand?
Exactly.
Yes. So we have a problem. Otherwise, if whites and blacks in this country do not unite, then we're going to have a problem.
Can we unite with white people?
It's very difficult.
When they've shown us that they are known liars, when they flew to Washington
Very difficult.
DC to lie. Is there a white genocide?
No, there's nothing like that in South Africa.
Are white farmers targeted?
No. I would say you go to a township. Maybe, let's say Soweto, for instance. You might have maybe 40 people who are killed. Just per weekend or one day, Saturday, Sunday.
And these are black.
These are black. No whites at all. So now when they talk of a white genocide, then I don't understand.
Is it a
normal Do we have crime? A black genocide or a white genocide?
Do we? Because now if they're going to call this a genocide, we might as well call the killings in Soweto and the townships a genocide as well.
Yes.
So hence I'm like the MAGA operation in America ran by the white supremacist Donald Trump is fueling the racial division that already existed, because I feel like America knew that 1994 was fake. It was sold to black people. Colonialism just changed fashion. It just changed its color. From being to physical shackles to now being economical repression. It just changes, but it hasn't died down. And Donald Trump knows that. And Donald Trump knew that to get revenge for Israel, I have to press at the fake unity that South Africa has. And voila, we will collapse. And this is what Malema has been saying all along. And black South Africans are saying Malema is just trying to be violent. We are fine as the Rainbow Nation. The only people that are Rainbow Nationing in South Africa are black people. White people can't give a
They can't come to the party. They don't want to come to the party.
Then why are black South Africans celebrating the sentence and they're shielding it as, oh, well, no one is above the law. The law says, the law says. But the very same law that failed to convict AfriForum Boers that violated a police van. They literally overturned a police van. There's an AfriForum leader that shot in the air while driving. At a public road, at a national road, he fired shots. Why weren't they persecuted, but Julius Malema is persecuted? Why is it?
That's a racial issue. Nothing. There's nothing more, nothing less about that. That is just racial issue. Because the timing of his judgment.
Very, very weird.
Very weird. Because it only happens after the meeting at the Oval Office.
Hence, I'm like, the way this judge is also reading makes me question. We'll come back to education and how South Africans are celebrating white mediocrity. We'll come back to that issue, just nip it in the bud here. But I just feel like the timing of it, if you can think about it, Native Talk, let me draw you this timeline, right? Operation Dudula is a catalyst. Operation Dudula is a catalyst and a neutralizer. right? Meaning that Operation Dudula has always been active. It was not an organization that just started last night. It has been there under Nhlanhla Lux, and it was meant to be a neighborhood watch, a crime neighborhood watch, right?
True.
And it succeeded to a certain extent under that, right? And then it changed into something. I think Nhlanhla Lux was bought out of it, or was threatened out of it, or was I don't know. Was he bribed out of it? I don't know what happened. And then it came under Zandile Dubula, and it became something else. It became an anti-African movement. Am I wrong to call it an anti-African movement, where they target African migrants that don't have correct documentations to even be here, target these immigrants to stop them from accessing healthcare in South Africa, education, any government services. If they want to access those services, they must go to public, the public, the private sector, and pay money to access medication in schools and whatever, right? So they started targeting these people, and then EFF, being African inclusive, being all African unity, was like, no, we can't have this operation targeting these people in our country. We can't have black on black war, because that only makes the enemy happy. It proves the point that blacks can govern themselves, blacks can be united. So EFF was like, no, we can't have that, right? And then Operation Dudula was like, hey, these people are stopping us from putting South Africa first. EFF is enemy, is the enemy.
No. African, you say it's what, Operation Dudula?
Yes,
Operation Dudula should have just focused on the crime in the townships. Because I would remember the one positive thing that they did during the riots, when people were looting.
Yes.
They have protected one mall. I don't know whether it's Maponya.
I think it's Maponya.
The other mall, but at least some malls were protected
through Operation Dudula.
Through Operation Dudula.
They did a good job there.
That is what they should be focusing on.
And that's where their strength lies.
Exactly.
That's where their strength lies. Yes. But we can't stop South Africans for putting South Africans first. Operation Dudula is operating on the function of saying, we are putting South Africans first, and the Freedom Charter allows for the people to govern. And the people of South Africa have spoken. They don't want foreigners in here. So when EFF counteracts that and blocks them from practicing the Freedom Charter, it made EFF the number one enemy. So EFF being the number one enemy in South Africa at this point, it became isolated and away from the protection of black people. Meaning when EFF is isolated and away from the protection, it is privy to attacks from racist white people. Because they know that AfriForum and Orania, they know that if they attack Julius Malema, black people won't protect them, because Operation Dudula has already made EFF the number one enemy. So it's easier for them to attack EFF from the inside and outside, going to America, submitting dossiers, saying this man is an international criminal, hence he should be neutralized. I am telling you, if Donald Trump right now says, let's assassinate Malema, South Africans are not going to do anything. In fact, they will celebrate the death of Julius Malema, because Operation Dudula has already made this man number one enemy, which pisses me off. So look at the timelines. I always say that Operation Dudula is an Israeli movement, is an Israeli-funded movement, or a Western-funded movement. Because the timeline is, they started fighting for blacks or South Africans first, right? Started fighting for that. And then AfriForum was like, while these people are causing a stir in South Africa, they are causing riots in South Africa. Let us plan ways to come back into the leadership power. Let us start a white genocide claim. Right around the time when Operation Dudula was at their height, just starting off, these white genocide claims, I know black people are going to say it's a lie. So when black people are saying it's a lie, let's escalate it to the international community, paint out this lie into reality, because the propaganda from the Western community is rife, it's powerful. And once that is believed in the international community.
Yeah.
We know that Julius Malema or any radical black person, black leader that is fearless in protecting black people, they will speak up.
Yeah.
And when they speak up about this, Operation Dudula will be there to, rip them down, tear them down. And we will use Operation Dudula as a shield to tear down these radical leaders, these fearless leaders,
yes,
so that we can penetrate from inside out.
I get your point, and this is not the first time. It's not the first thing happening in South Africa. It happened in Mozambique.
Okay.
You would have Frelimo as the ruling party, and then the international or whoever came into Mozambique.
Yes.
Tulu Alfonso Dlakama.
I don't know him.
To form what they called Renamo.
Okay.
They armed those people to fight the military of the country so that they can overthrow government. The same thing happens in Angola. You have the MPLA, there was UNITA under Jonas Savimbi.
Okay, I don't know him.
So this is the same thing that they do with the Operation Dudula. But now what we need here is, can I say education?
We do.
Yes,
say it like
we
it
really
is.
need education.
Say it like it is.
Because some people are not politically educated.
Yes.
They don't know what is happening.
They don't.
Yes. So that is why what should happen. And in the olden days, we used to have those the movement called Pan-Africanism. That is to say, blacks must love themselves and nothing else.
They don't love themselves.
So that is what must happen now. The political school that would say Africans must love themselves. Otherwise, we're not going to win.
We're not going to go ahead. Some like Operation
Dudula
is probably run by people that don't love themselves.
Yes, we're not going to win this.
We're not going to win the hands. I'm like,
but remember, some of them are being bought, given some
heavy money,
hell of money.
Exactly. Hence, I'm like, it's a funded. I might be wrong on who's funding Operation Dudula.
Yeah.
I said Israel.
Yeah.
I said Israel. It could be I don't know. It could be someone in South Africa. It could be the ANC. For heaven's sake, it could be someone that makes sure that any leader that's
I also don't have the knowledge who might be
funding, but it's funded
the operation.
But it's funded.
Yes, because
it is funded.
It's a movement. It's a very active movement.
And it's
and you can't sustain it without money.
It's causing more harm than good. Hence, I'm like, white people saw a loophole within Operation Dudula to say,
they did. They did.
Because, white people can't outright be racist.
Yeah.
They need to make it seem like the one that is protecting black people is wrong. Hence, I'm like, they can't outright say, you know what, there's a white genocide, there's this. And when we take them to, when we take them to the international community to report that there's a racial tension in South Africa, we can't outright say this is Julius Malema, he did this. This is they can't outright be racist in our face. So they need to hide behind black people that hate black people. Operation Dudula hates Malema. So these the white people of this country, they use Operation Dudula as a vehicle to pursue and evolve their racism, to develop their racism in the guise of saying we are putting South Africans first. Because trust me, whites have never put South African first. The DA has never put South African first. The Freedom Front Plus has never put South African first. AfriForum has never put South Africans first. So why are we celebrating the downfall of a man that put South Africans first and celebrate with our enemies? Why is that? And Operation Dudula is leading the hate campaign.
Yes, and I don't know where this ideology of saying Malema hates white comes from.
Malema doesn't hate white people. His body blood is white.
Yes, he would say, I love whites. I'm okay with whites.
He's okay with
we can live together peacefully here. The only thing that I hate, that's white supremacy. Let us all be equal. There shouldn't be any some brothers or some bosses and stuff like that. They shouldn't be there. So I don't know this idea of saying Malema hates
Hates
white.
white.
Where does it
It's
come
part
from?
of the propaganda package. So that when the international community, aka Donald Trump, wants to assassinate him while he's in prison, remember he's going to be sentenced to 15 years.
Yeah.
So while he's in prison, they assassinate him from there. And they know that South Africans will celebrate because, according to their little minds in South Africa, Julius did not put South Africans first. Julius hated black people, and only white people saved us.
So that is a problem.
This is a dangerous thing. This
Yeah,
is a
that
very
can
dangerous
happen.
narrative pushed by Operation Dudula, Chris Excel on X. Yes, basically these two are the most dangerous, uneducated people
Yeah,
that
because
are
they
pushing
really
this
need
narrative.
to be educated in terms of the South African
Politics
history or politics in general.
in general.
Yes.
It goes back to like education. Need I say that? I said something. I was like, keep that point. What did I want to say about that point?
Yeah.
I said you must keep a point for me. What did I say? I said keep a point for me. What did I want you to keep for me? That I the education, no, it's not about
education maybe.
It's not about education. I forgot the point.
And I remember the ANC has got an educational school.
About at this point, can we trust ANC to do
A political
anything for us?
school. No.
And at this point, can we trust ANC to do anything for us?
No.
At this point, we should cancel them. There is nothing progressive that happened under the ANC. I know some people are going to say it's not true. There's something, but it happened at a stagnant rate. If we can look at other economies that don't have minerals within their countries, how rapid the economy grew, we cannot be celebrating mediocrity.
Exactly.
It was about a judge. Yeah. The judge that was reading Malema's verdict.
Yeah.
I was saying that the way white people are so used to mediocrity and celebrating mediocrity, the judge can't even read. Did you see how she was struggling to read the sentence?
Yes,
you can tell that sentence is politically that verdict. It's politically motivated, and it doesn't come from South Africa. It does not come from the people of South Africa. It does not come from our government. It does not come from the judiciary of South Africa. It comes straight from the White House. First of all, the United States English is different from our English, so that could explain why she couldn't read it, because it's from the United States.
And remember, there is an organization called the JSE. Yeah. This is Judicial Commission of South Africa, JC what? JC what?
Yeah. That is also involved in some heavy crimes, by the way. I am looking at.
No, that is an organization that governs the judiciary of South
Africa.
Yes. The lawyers, the magistrate, and stuff like prosecutors.
Do you think that judiciary or that organization wrote that verdict for Malema?
No. It's not the White House. Because there is, remember, there are rumors that always says some judges are captured.
Which is true. Mkhwanazi did say.
Yes, that might be. Mkhwanazi said
and it's true.
That might be one of those. You understand? Yes.
It could be a captured
judge
that wrote. And the fact that the judge could not read also shows how South Africans are comfortable. They're comfortable, selective. They're very comfortable with white mediocrity. Because if it was a black judge that read like that white woman, he would have been crucified or criticized.
Absolutely.
So we are okay with white mediocrity, but when it comes to black people, we must fall hard for them. We must punch hard. We must criticize and pull them down.
That should not be.
But this is what South Africans are doing. This is what black South Africans are doing.
And of course, unfortunately,
the lack of education and empathy.
So
So this is I just wanted to get the gist of the African Union and just basically to show South Africans that apartheid was not an isolated case in Africa.
No, it wasn't.
Everybody fought for us,
wasn't.
And it's unfair to say that they have done nothing for us. They're just here to eat our economy. But
no, it wasn't. Like I told you some other time that this African nations were colonized by different countries.
Yes.
You'd have Portugal in Mozambique and Angola. That is why those people now speak Portuguese.
Yeah. And then you'd have French in the West Africa, some Western African countries. French.
Yes, French.
Yeah.
I also told you that Namibia was captured
Germany.
by Germany.
Hence they speak good German there.
Yes.
Then they were also oppressed by white South Africans.
Exactly.
By the Boers.
Exactly. Because Germany, when they left, they have handed over
power
to power of Namibia. To South
Africa. Yes, we govern them as But do you see how united they are? You made a very guys. Did you hear that point? When Germany left Namibia, they handed power to the Boers of South Africa. That's how united they are. Exactly. It shows that why didn't they give independence to Namibia then? No, they handed it to their brother. That just shows white people across the world, they are united. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you are white, you are protected by the white supremacy of the international community. Why can't we have that for South Africa? Why can't we have that for South Africa when a black person is oppressed in South Africa? I know that Ibrahim Traore will have my back. I know that Malema, wherever I am, will have my back. Why can't we have that? Why can't we have a big brother that will save black people across the diaspora? Why is that? No. Because I can assure you, the white genocide claims, the way Donald Trump jumped on it, even though he had his own ambitions to it, he saved his little brothers, his little white brothers. He did. When the Germans left Namibia, they gave power to their little brother in South Africa, the Boers. That's what unity is. Why can't we have that? But in order to achieve that, I do agree to a certain extent with some black South Africans that, hey, we need to have a dialogue. Yeah. We can't all be in South Africa and cripple the economy. We need to have a dialogue where people will come in and there will be order in coming in. Yes. This thing of coming those in, people as well up there, they have their own economies. Exactly. Even if maybe sometimes the economy is not doing well, but somehow they can help. Somehow they can help. They can contribute. Somehow they contribute to their citizens who are in this country. Exactly. You see? So the dialogue it's necessary. There's an open dialogue. I feel like leaders should stop being self-centered and include the masses. And ANC must stop having mines in other countries and using our economy to pay back that is a problem. Well, thank you so much for indulging us, for giving us the lowdown on where Pan-Africanism comes from and why it's important to have African unity and an open dialogue amongst the African countries. I got an education and I hope you guys are well educated, and maybe if I missed something in terms of the timelines, remember I spoke about the Operation Dudula, the Donald Trump asking, yes, Operation Dudula, and then farm murder or white genocide claims, and then arresting Malema. Yes, Donald Trump asking Ramaphosa to arrest Malema, and then Malema is arrested and he might possibly be assassinated. That correlates very well. So if you think this timeline is correct as well, please do comment to me in the comment section. If I missed something, please do comment to me in the comment section. But until then, this has been amazing. Catch me on the African Diaspora News channel. My name is Reneilwe Morema. It has been an absolute pleasure. Bye.